Hello, and thank you so much for joining me here on my channel. I'm going to be doing the Capricorn energy reading. As always, take what resonates, leave what does not, especially since this is a general reading. I'm using my Green Witch Tarot. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, the links are down below. So we have the Death card, which is the Lord of Shadows right there. And then we have a wishing well, and then we have the lunar moth, and then we have the people that are walking away. All right. Let's see what else we got going on here. We have the Oak King, which is the Hangman. I feel like it's looking at the ending of something. So maybe something has just ended or something that you need to end. Looking at it from the perspective that it's time to move on, that it's time to let it go, and that it's time for you to transform, and it's time for you to embrace change in your life. All right, so that's kind of the energy that I'm feeling. That's the message that I'm getting from these two cards, that what you may be going through right now is that things are changing maybe for you. Maybe there's some things that are ending. Maybe there are some things that have been in your life for a long time, or that have happened or have been the same way for a long time. Maybe it's even about your own perspective about things, and you've always kind of felt the same way about something, but maybe now you're ready to change your perspective, or maybe you're ready to try some new things, or maybe you're ready to end some relationships and start making your wishes and dreams come true. Look, because we have this wishing well right here. Maybe it's time for you to focus a little less on others and start focusing on transforming yourself and making your wishes and dreams come true. Maybe something has just ended for you and you're feeling really sad about it. And yeah, when there's something that we like in our life and it comes to an end, yeah, it does feel sad. It does feel, it's some endings we're ready for and some endings we're not. And maybe this is one that you're not. That's kind of the energy that I was feeling, is that you weren't really ready for this. But I feel that inside that it's about looking at it from a different perspective and saying, okay, it's run its course. Like, we have those people that are in our life for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. And maybe that season or maybe that reason has ended and it's coming to an end. And that's okay. And the more that we hang on to something and we dig our heels in and we say, no, 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 the longer that it is preventing us from that transformation. And then I always feel like it's, don't let the situation get to the point where you start to have regret, right? That you start to build up a negative narrative about the situation. And sometimes it's just best to rip that Band-Aid off and to start moving forward with things. So I feel like whatever has come to an end or needs to come to an end, these are two major cards here, is to look at it from a different perspective. Take a step back, take some time out, and think about it from a different view. Sometimes that can really make a big difference, and that can really turn things around for ourselves. And we can say, okay, this is going to empower me, that this ending isn't going to, right? Think about the situation and saying, how can this build me up? How can I learn and how can I grow from this with this Four of Swords? And just take that time to think about, okay, how, even though this needs to come to an end or something has ended, how can this benefit me? And looking at, okay, now where can I focus my attention? I feel like it's focusing that attention on your own abundance, on your own fulfillment within yourself. That maybe you've been focusing, and maybe you've been avoiding focusing on yourself because you weren't ready to face that. But maybe it's time, the time has come, and the situations have come and the situations have happened where it's time for you to focus on your own abundance. And I love that. Doing that self-care, doing those things that bring abundance into your life, whatever abundance may represent to you. And I just feel like it's just thinking things through, especially with the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles is somebody who's very patient, is very grounded, very determined, very dedicated. I feel the King of Pentacles is somebody who doesn't really make a move unless they feel confident in what their move is going to be. Like they take the time to analyze and look at things and think about things, and they don't rush into things. But I feel like it's kind of really looking at, okay, what's my next step? Where do I want to go next? What action do I want to take next? I love that. Bringing in, thinking about your new life, your new you, right? Your new direction, your new actions, your new beginnings. And get excited, fruitfulness with the cherries on the bottom there, right? Don't look at this ending as all the doors are shut. Look at this ending as doors are opening up for you. And you have a new focus. You have a new direction. You're doing something new. 8 of Wands. I like this one. So she kind of has the mat there, and she has all the wands, and then she has like the string, and she has the flowers, and it's like she's getting things put together here. Like she's gathering up all of her supplies that she wants to make these bouquets with, right? Because she has the string, she has the flowers, she has the knife, she has the wands, and I feel like she's gathered all of the flowers from around, and it's like gathering all of this information and saying, okay, I have a lot of information, and I feel like you kind of know what it is that you want to do, and I feel like you know what your next step is and what it is that you want to focus on. But now is the time to get all of this information and these things together and start making it happen with this Ace of Wands. I feel like you need some time to yourself, definitely with this 5 of Pentacles. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Take this time to focus on you. What's important for you? Don't think of it as the universe is working against you. The universe is working for you because it wants you to have this time to yourself. With this 4 of Swords here, I feel like, again, like that's kind of take that time to yourself. This may be something that is going to, take you some time, because I feel like we're going from the spring to the winter. So it may be like that for some reason, I feel like that may represent time. So this is something a process that you're going through and that you're working through. It doesn't mean that you need to be alone by yourself for the next year. I feel like it's take that time for you for that next year, because we have the Empress that is next, for you to blossom, for you to grow, for you to focus on what is important for you, for you to evolve and change within yourself and bring in that harvest, right? That abundance with that King of Pentacles. I feel like you're going to be going through a lot of changes. I feel like you're like this ending, this Death card, and this ending is just the beginning. So I feel like that's how you have to see that this ending is just the beginning. As I always say, it has to do a lot with your perspective and how you see things, and that maybe there's some time where you have to feel that sadness and you have to work through those feelings, but then being aware of, okay, I don't want to stay in this for too long, because then that's going to start building up, and that's going to be harder to move away from. We have the 10 of Swords, the ending of something, but the beginning of something, right? With the 10 of Swords, putting something to an end and cooking something up, brewing something, creating something with her. She's got like the pot there that she's making things and putting things together and creating things. I also feel like usually the 10 of Swords is usually there's an image and then it has all the knives, and you feel like I feel like you've been through a lot. You've been through a lot of changes. You've been through a lot of things, but look how strong you are because you came through that. Look how strong you are because you persevered and you pushed through that. And that's what you have to remind yourself of. We have the Lady and the Lord, so this is the Lover's card. So I feel like it's having that love and feeling excited about love. Doing those things that make you feel that sense of love and happiness within yourself. What is it that you love to do? What is it that you enjoy doing? I also feel like it's building those relationships that you have around you. I feel like you've kind of had some walls up around you with that. And I feel like it's time to let some of those walls down and to have those deeper relationships. All right, so I feel like 2 more cards. We have the Chariot and then we have the 5 of Swords. All right. So the Chariot is about being in control. And I feel like it's putting yourself out there, kind of with the way this card is, where this person is peddling their wares to this person and putting themselves out there, and they've created these swords and they're like, okay, like, would you be interested in this? And I love how the peacock is there, because I feel like the peacock represents it's time for you to shine. It's time for you to come out of your shell. It's time for you to be in the forefront, right? It's time for you to take control. That this transformation and change is where you've kind of been in the shadow to begin with, but now it's time for you to step up front. Now it's time for you to be in the forefront. Now it's time for you to take control. Now it's time for you to grow and for you to prosper and for you to bring that abundance in your life. And have that mindset of bringing that abundance in, whatever that represents for you. And really looking within and saying, what gives me that sense of fulfillment? What brings me that happiness? What brings me joy, right? That I want to have that in my life. I feel like it has to do with a relationship. I feel like there's someone, I kind of feel like you're like, you know what? This person really is important to me, and I'm going to make more of an effort towards this person. I'm going to make more of an effort to show that person how important and special they are to me. For some reason, that's just coming through. Again, take what resonates, leave what does not. But for some reason, I feel like that's an energy that I'm feeling. And I also feel like maybe for some of you, you may be pursuing your own business, and that you may be pursuing your own thing that you want to start creating. Or maybe it's your own YouTube channel. Maybe it's creating a product. Maybe it's, I'm not sure, but I feel like it's something that you are creating that I feel like you want to show other people, and it's something that makes you happy. It could just be a hobby that you want to do. Maybe you want to take some pottery classes. I know that for my sister, like she's always loved pottery, and so she recently got back into taking a pottery class, and she's really excited about that. So it could just be a hobby that maybe you like being creative, and it's like looking for that class and taking that class and doing that thing that makes you happy, right? And having that community around you, right? Having like-minded people that like the same thing, and you have that in common, and you can talk about that and get excited about that, right? That's what starts to bring in the excitement of life, is when you have that community that's around you that can share your same interests or your same hobbies. That's definitely exciting. We have Bat Spirit. A rebirth is assured. I love it, because I feel like this goes with the Death card, with what we started with, is a rebirth. You create that rebirth. Don't keep yourself in that negative energy of the Death card, or feeling like you're by yourself. And don't keep yourself in that. I felt like pulling the next card, and we have Stag Spirit. Take the lead. Take the lead in your rebirth. What does your rebirth look like, right? That if you're going to change things around, what does that look like, right? What does that feel like? What does that look like for you, is having that rebirth? Who is that person with that rebirth, right? Take the lead, take control. I feel like that goes with take the lead with the Chariot card. Take the lead in your life, right? Don't just sit by as a passenger. That if there's something that you want to do, if there's something that you want to have happen, if there's a certain way that you want to feel within yourself, that if you want to feel happy each day, that you want to wake up excited for each day, that if you want to work at a job that excites you every day, take the lead, make that happen. You have that power to do that. You have the power to do that. And if you believe that you don't, then that's where you have to start your work from, right? That if you feel like you don't have control of anything, I feel like that's where you need to get started with. and say, yes, I do have control. I can make changes. I can, choose differently for myself. I feel like these two wanted to come out. We have vision, contemplating the future. And I feel like that is exactly what I was just talking about, is what does that vision, what does that future look like to you? And then we have culmination, completion, and renewal. So I feel that this completion and renewal goes back to the death card, where it's completion, right? Something may be completed, but then we have a renewal with the Empress, right? Renewal and a rebirth, right? A renewal, completion and renewal. So this is kind of like a repeating message here. And we have the rebirth, right? That's rebirth is a completion of something and a renewal. That's how you have to look at it. That you have to see that if something has ended, if something has come to an end, that's okay, because that time has been processed or worked, or it's done. So it's time to get excited for that rebirth, for that renewal, about what's coming in, right? That's where you have to put your focus, right? Not in the past of how things were or how it was. Of course, I'm not a doctor or a therapist. This is just my opinion. But to move on from, okay, what's coming in? I'm so excited. I'm so excited for change. I'm so excited for what's going to happen. We have unconditional love. So I feel like that's kind of coming through here. And with this Lovers card, and it's give yourself that unconditional love. And I also, like I was saying, is that I feel like there's a relationship that is around you that you're giving that unconditional love to, that you're kind of raising that relationship to a higher level and a deeper connection and a stronger connection, that you're willing to be vulnerable in that relationship. That's when you find the highest love. That's when you find that deepest connection, is when you're able to be vulnerable. That may be something that you're thinking that you would like to have, but you just don't feel, you have too many walls up around you. You have too many things that have maybe happened to you in the past. You have too many situations that have happened and you're feeling too guarded. And that's okay if you feel guarded. I mean, definitely that's how we protect ourselves, is that we have to protect ourselves and say, okay, I need to do this for now because I don't want to get hurt again. But then you think about, okay, do I need to set boundaries with this relationship so that, I can still have this relationship, or, to give yourself that time to reconnect with that person? Like, what is it that you feel that you need to do for yourself to have that unconditional love with this relationship? And is that an unconditional love that you want to give to that person in this relationship? And is that something that you're willing to do? Sometimes we have to ask ourselves those really tough questions and say, am I really willing to put in the work? Go with your first answer. That first answer that you had, that's, I feel, your true answer. And I feel like if you go any further into that, then you start to get in your head and you start to change things and turn things around. And I feel like it's being honest with yourself and saying, you know what? I really do feel that ending was what I needed in order for me to refocus my attention. And sometimes we like to occupy ourselves with things so that we don't have to deal with what we really need to deal with, and we can turn a blind eye to it and we can ignore it. But then I feel like it comes back around and it says, well, are you ready to deal with this now? Are you ready to see what's going to happen? Are you ready to take charge? Are you ready for the stag spirit to take the lead? Are you ready for the rebirth, right? Are you ready for change? And sometimes we're not, and that's okay. But sometimes we are. Sometimes it's almost like once you start getting into that mode of change and kind of seeing how good things can be and how good things can get, it's like you want that more and more and more and more. And you get excited for it. Definitely there are those days where your subconscious tries to pull you back into the negativity because that's what you're used to. But it's like, no, like, I don't want to go back to that. I can't go back to that. Like, I've progressed and I've moved on. Truth be told, what is the truth, right? We have the owl and we have the mask. What is the truth of the situation? What was I just talking about? Ask yourself, are you willing to commit to the unconditional love in this relationship, in this Lovers card here, if that's what's going on with you, if that resonates with you? And what did I say? Whatever your first answer is how you're feeling. That's just what I feel. Is go with that first feeling that you first have. That's what you need to explore. Truth be told, I bet that maybe you're like, yeah, I'm kind of glad that ended. And yeah, I am kind of glad that I can refocus my energy now, that I do have this Lover's card to focus on. And truth be told is I'm ready to be vulnerable with the window looking into the owl there, right? Because we have all of these little hearts that are floating all around. And I feel like that goes back with the Lover's card, and it goes back to that unconditional love card, right? Looking within yourself, and the truth, looking within yourself is what is your true answer. Sometimes we feel almost conditioned to say what we feel we're supposed to say. But I feel like the truth is, this is how, I really feel about the situation, and what do I need to do to work towards that answer. All right, let's grab a crystal card here for your reading. Sometimes the truth is really eye-opening, right? Sometimes when you just speak the truth, you're like, wow, okay. Like, it's kind of like eye-opening, and you're like, okay, the truth is, this is how I really feel about this situation. Like, if I'm going to be completely honest and being vulnerable and saying, yeah, like, I was ready for that to end, right? Or I'm ready to move on, or I'm ready to focus on myself. I'm ready to bring in my own abundance. I'm ready to focus on me. I'm ready for my own personal growth, right? That I'm ready for a new me. I'm ready to take charge. All right, so we have this crystal that came out is blue spinel. Persistence, fresh perspective, and revival. How perfect is that, right? Persistence, to not give up when you feel challenged, because I always feel like the challenges are there to say, is this really what you want to have happen? Is this really what you want? Or are you just kind of pretending, right? Truth be told, do you want these changes? And be persistent when you have the challenges and when you're being tested. Fresh perspective, that's what I was talking about, is having that fresh perspective and taking that time with that 4 of Swords and that 5 of Pentacles, is take that time to yourself, no matter how long that takes, is to have that fresh perspective and that new outlook about how, right? Fresh perspective, again, right next to the Hangman. That's what the Hangman represents, is a fresh perspective, a new way of looking at things. So again, this crystal is reiterating that. And then a revival. And that's what I was saying with the Bat Spirit, a rebirth is assured, and completion and renewal. So revive to keep alive. This crystal brings new energy to stagnant parts of your life, from inside your body to the world outside. The name of this stone comes from the Latin word for spine, and blue spinel will give you a strong backbone, sense of self, and reason to stand tall despite any challenges you may face. This is a great crystal for workaholics, as it eases stress and anxiety and instills a renewed sense of resolution. You can make it to the end if you put your mind to it. This crystal provides that fresh perspective to reset and rejuice, right? And that, I feel, is what this reading is all about, is having that fresh perspective and ending those things that don't serve you. Stop that thinking, right? Stop that negative thinking, or stop those things that you're doing, those routines that you're doing that you feel are holding you back, that you feel are not really giving you that energy for life, that are not giving you that Ace of Wands here. Stop doing those things, right? Looking at your habits. What are those things that you do that you feel that you're just drudging along with each day and you're just trying to push through each day? What are those things? Can you change your morning routine, right? Sometimes, I know that for me, for a while there, like when I would wake up, I would immediately get on my phone. I'd scroll through Facebook, and then I'd play some games on my phone, and then I'd be really lazy about getting up. Then I stopped that. I'm like, no more of that. So I would get right up, and then I would get right to work. I would, do my chores around my living space, and then I would get right to work. And it felt so good. And sometimes if it was early in the morning, I'd go out on my patio. I'd look up at the sky. I'd just be outside. I change things up, and that's what gives you more of an opportunity to change things up within your daily routine, right? Sometimes it's like break that routine, change things up, do things differently, and see, yeah, that might feel a little uncomfortable, but I feel like it kind of gives a fresh perspective, right? Could be that night routine, right? Instead of like changing that up, maybe it's like going for a walk, or it's doing some exercises, or it's doing a puzzle, or it's doing something different to change things up, to get that feeling of, yeah, like I feel more alive. I feel like things can be different. Like, stop. If you feel that the same routine isn't getting you anywhere, then you have the power to change that routine, to do it differently, right? Looking at those things, you really have to look, because it's all individual with each person of those routines that we have. But being able to take that opportunity to look inside and say, yeah, you know what, I think I have to change this routine. I have to change this up a little bit. You know, I have to, doesn't mean you have to make big changes or huge changes, but sometimes those little changes, like, they start to snowball into more and more changes, right? And doing things differently. And that's what starts to, you feel like you're taking the lead. You feel like life isn't, like, you're not being the passenger in the passenger seat in life. Like, you're taking the lead and you're saying, you know what? I think things need to be done a little differently. I think I need to change things up. And that you're doing things, right? You're seeing things from that different perspective, right? You're thinking about things differently. You're doing things differently. You're seeing things differently. You're trying different things out and seeing what works, going with that, what doesn't work, moving on from that. That's what life is life is constant change, right? If you feel that it's too stagnant, then it's time to end things, and it's time to change and embrace that transformation. It doesn't mean life always has to be about transformation and change. Definitely we have those times where we feel comfortable and we feel safe and we feel good. We feel like we're in a good place in our life. And that's okay. But I feel like with this card, it's about having that fresh perspective and having that revival and getting excited about life. So I feel like that's what that crystal is. And I feel like that's what this reading is, especially with, you know, all of these different messages and the truth be told. And with that Ace of Wands, is getting excited about life, and that you have the power to do that. And that's what you have to realize. The truth is, right? The truth be told, right? Are you following old ways and keeping yourself stuck in old patterns, or is it time to make some change? All right. Only you can answer that question. The tarot and I are just here to ask you those questions. And only you can answer those. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I think we didn't do all the cards, did we? Did we do? I don't think I did this one. Let me grab this one. For some reason, this one's sticking out. I don't think I did this one. Let's do this one. You know what? We'll do this one and then we'll end it. For some reason, like, my eye just caught that deck and I'm like, I don't think I pulled a card from that deck. Let's see. I feel like these two. No, these three, right? Let's go with these three. Ah, I love it. Stand your ground, right? Stand your ground. So this is the Seven of Wands. Stand your ground, right? Fighting for you. We have transformation. Look at this. We have the Death card. The Death card, transformation. That's why this wanted to come out. Don't get stuck, trapped in fear with the Eight of Swords. Don't get stuck in that, right? Don't get stuck, trapped in fear. Fear of, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? What do you think is going to happen, right? I feel, for me, when I feel trapped in fear, I have to ask myself, what am I afraid of? What am I afraid that's going to happen? What am I afraid of, the worst thing that's going to happen? Don't be trapped in fear, because that's always what will hold you back. And I feel like that was so important, like really with these three, is to stand your ground and embrace transformation and don't be trapped in fear. I mean, the message is pretty clear right there, is that you have to be strong within yourself and you have to create that light within yourself, right? Create that light, be that beacon. This is the Sun card, right? Create that positivity, create that light for yourself. That look at, again, why are you trapped in fear? And shine light on it and say, okay, I need to make some changes, right? Why do I feel stuck? What do I feel is going to happen? And create that light and set yourself free from that, right? Break free from that and have that rebirth, right? That only you can do that. But you have to be in the mindset and you have to be ready for that, right? But sometimes it's just things to think about, and then you write them down, and then you take actions to make them happen, because the actions are what is going to bring that change in. Lots to think about, but very exciting. And again, changing that perspective on this first death card about if something has come to an end or something has ended, processing it, and then saying, okay, I'm ready to close that door, and I'm so excited to open up the new doors. All right. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you're still hanging in there with me. I really appreciate it. I hope you have an amazing day. As always, stay positive, stay safe, and I will see you next time.